I have to say, as someone who is also going through physical therapy, that it's not only inspiring, but because I'm a natural born klutz and they're teaching me how to walk without falling down, which I'm aspiring to. She has me walking, doing this kind of game where you have to leap about 24 inches at least from one circle to another without losing your balance. And she puts the circles in different places, so I have to find the circle and then try to reach with my foot. So I'm impressed at how much it's improved my balance. But anyway, on to the evaluations for the speeches. And Alex, you're going to be giving the evaluation for me. And your comment was that ecstatic moments are all the more ecstatic after prolonged periods of grief or loneliness. So, thank you.
Thank you very much, Leslie. I felt and feel jubilant the opportunity to hear and learn about Mickey. It's wonderful getting to know more about her. This is my first speech evaluation, so I look forward to my evaluation from the general evaluator afterwards. How did Mickey do on time?
Mickey, you were 1 second shy. You didn't wait for the 5-minute green card. You stopped 1 second before the 5-minute minimum.
Thank you, Rob. Mickey's objectives were to share about herself, let people get to know her. I think she did a wonderful job with that. She shared personal stories. She shared about that it was the passing of her father that motivated her to study Judaism, which is something she has ended up learning and studying about and feeling very passionate about. We learned about some of the different jobs that she had as a site manager, also managing programs for elderly folks with vision problems, and she shared some of the challenging experiences that she had with that, being potentially threatened with discrimination. So I thought all these things were wonderful, and then she brought it back again to the story of father passing and how that motivated her. It gave her pause to think about what she wanted to do or pursue, and that led her to study Judaism, which she has now a teacher of, which is really fascinating. So, in terms of meeting her objectives, I think she did a wonderful job sharing about herself. She just barely shy of meeting the 4-minute mark, and I think that 5-minute mark, okay, means you could have spoken a little more slowly at times. Otherwise, I thought you spoke with great clarity. You made good eye contact. You looked up regularly throughout your talk to make eye contact with folks in the room. I thought in terms of one thing that you might consider in the future, is that I feel like you could have elaborated a little bit more about the impact of your father's passing. What were you feeling? What was it about your relationship with your father that prompted you to ask these questions and to search? I think you could have drawn the audience in a little bit more by bringing a little bit more personal element to your speech. But otherwise, that was wonderful. Thank you.
So, Sandip, I believe you're up next, and you're going to be evaluating Harvey.
Can I please know the time of the speech?
Yes. Our second speaker was Harvey Fisher, and he was supposed to stop at 8 minutes, and he's given a 30-second passage, or margin, I should say. Harvey, you spoke for 8 minutes and 57 seconds.
So a little bit of your allotted time. Harvey, what an excellent and jubilant speech. Some of the initial things that I noticed about your speech were that you stood in front of the podium, you did not use any notes, and you engaged your audience on both sides. It was a very honest speech, very well organized, so great job. Your first objective was to entertain the audience with a personal experience, and I think you did a magnificent job there. You captivated the audience with your story of your road trip with your wife. There were chuckles, people were laughing. I was myself very curious about how your road trip went and your different experience along with your wife. You wanted a well-organized speech. I think the speech was very was indeed well-formed and concise. You had a great vocal variety and entertained the audience with the speech. Minor suggestion, certain parts I thought you were kind of rushed and some of the words were not very clear, but that would be me. But overall, a great speech with excellent flow.
And we come to our evaluations of some of the more nutsy, boltsy elements of the meeting. So we need to have the grammarian report.
Can I just state my response for just briefly, because it's really important to me. Ecstatic would describe my college graduation, and it is a higher state of consciousness because you go in, you know, of these at least 4 years ahead of you. I took 5, and the final exam really is a final exam in your final semester, and no more textbooks. So college graduation is definitely an ecstatic moment. There, I said it. Thank you. Starting with, I would go through, say, the Toastmaster was clean through the speeches, and I think you were clean all the way through. I didn't really pick up anything. You were very clean with all your introductions, so. The first person I recorded was Chris, and he was clean, and I guess the word would have distracted from the joke, so it was a jubilant joke anyway. Mickey was very good for an icebreaker. Very few ums. I just noted occasional as you were telling your story, your speech, but it was very smooth for a icebreaker speech. Harvey also well organized, as you wanted it to be good storytelling. I thought there were occasional ums in between sentences, but not wasn't your crutch word. Your crutch word was ands and so's between sentences, but I thought it wasn't distracting. And for table topics, I didn't catch any fillers from Mo, from Al. Eco had about 3 ums and 3 so's. You were kind of won the table topics. And Mary Alice had 3 O's and a you know. And both evaluators were good. And for the word of the day, I found, let's see, I thought both speakers used it, and Julie used it, and the first 2 table topics people used it, and at least one of the evaluators used it. I think both of them did. So that's good. Good job.
Okay. Before we do the final evaluation, Rob, can you just give us the timer report?
Yes, I'd be happy to, Leslie. I'm going to make an executive decision. It says 1 to 2 minutes. I'm going to see if I could just hit a 30-second minimum and then give us more time. And I'll ask the board to not give a timer a full 2 minutes. I think that's way too long. Everybody was within their time, with the exception of Mickey and Sandip. Sandip, you stopped 15 seconds short of the green card. So all I'll say for today's meeting is wait until you see, even if you're just standing in front of the room, looking at people and smiling and repeating 1 or 2 things. The reason I say this is if you ever want to compete, you could give the best speech in the room, but if you don't reach the minimum, you'll be disqualified. So it's a skill for timing. And my time is 55 seconds, and that's it for me.
Okay.